Peace, peace. This is O.G.B.O for the Ministry of Information. There's a saying, it takes a community, or a village rather, to raise a child. I think some of you mothers figure because your elder children are part of your community, then they should take a big part of the responsibility of raising your child. They should give up their childhood, their adolescence, to become mama's babysitter. I watched as a younger, in my 20s, a neighborhood I lived in, I watched several families, especially during the summer and during the school year. I watched mothers leave, some mothers leave for work, leave the children on their eldest daughter. Eldest daughter may be 11. Now her task is keeping the children safe, keeping them out of harm's way, and feeding them while mom's at work. And God forbid if being a child somehow interferes with her raising your child. You come home and you go upside her head. I watched this. Then I watch mothers go out to the club 10, 11 o'clock at night. Leave the children to the care of their elder child. Not only should you be ashamed of yourself, and being a ward of the state myself, my mother lost custody of me. Luckily, I had my grandmother. That circumstance in my early life makes it very difficult for me to say this next part. But some of you, hell, more than some, need to be relieved of your motherly duties. Not necessarily indefinitely, but for 6 months to a year, while you are watched and monitored. This should allow you time to get a job, set up, or save your money, to whereas after 6 months, you will be able to continually pay child care. Something like this, maybe we could do this as a community, because that's really what we need to do. I have zero trust for the courts because I know how they do. I'm the product of that. They took me and my siblings from my mother, but they did not care what became of us. So on one hand, you're moving us to make sure we're safe physically, but you throw us to the wind. Some grew up in foster care. Some been to several foster homes. I was fortunate to be with my paternal grandmother. Okay? And there are scars, psychological scars that we still carry. I remember the day that they awarded my grandmother custody. And the social worker dropped us off. My sister was in the car. When they opened the door, I got out. I put my hand in my grandmother's hand and put my other hand out for my sister to grab. And the social worker intervened, making sure my sister didn't get out the vehicle and shut the door. And I didn't see my sister again for several years. That's a memory that cannot be erased. Can you imagine the psychological damage that does to a child? The only person, well, what I was going to say is, living with my grandmother, a woman who I've only seen once or twice at this time, I had no familiar faces. But one of the people that I grew up with, who was basically my mother, and she's 2 years older than me. And I was 3 when I went with my grandmother. That put her at 5, but she was the one who made sure I ate. Imagine that. The morning I went to live with my grandmother, we was over my godmother's house in Mosby Court, for those of you who are familiar with Richmond. And our godmother made eggs for breakfast. My sister, knowing that I'm allergic to eggs, she didn't eat her eggs because she would not eat while her brother was unable to eat. And oh my God. She grabbed me by the hand and walked me from Mosby to Creighton Court, crossing the streets, waiting on traffic lights. She walked me up to my grandmother's back door. I'll never forget that. Forgive me. So it's hard for me to say some of you mothers need to be relieved of that duty, at least for a while, with the goal of getting your priorities in order so that you can get your child back. This is O.G.B.O for the Ministry of Information. Until next time, peace.